Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Candace Campos. We are live in the News 6 newsroom as a lot of our news crews, reporters, photographers, everyone is kind of gearing up for what will be kind of a rough couple of hours as we head into your Wednesday afternoon into the evening. And with the worst of it overnight tonight and into early Thursday morning, all thanks to now Tropical Storm Nicole, which, by the way, continues to strengthen. We have hurricane hunters currently inside the storm, checking out the structure. We are clocking some stronger winds, we're clocking some lower pressures. So the combination of all that does show that we could be having a hurricane in our next update, our next advisory, which, by the way, will be at 10 a.m. So let's talk about the Nicole's timeline. So for today, squally weather will begin. Most of your preparations around your house should be done within the next few hours as the weather will really start to deteriorate throughout the next few hours. Tropical downpours still can be expected. We've racked up almost 2 inches of rain in some isolated spots over the last day or so, with some of that moisture starting to feed in across central Florida. The worst of the weather will be, once again, overnight tonight and into Thursday morning, where we will see wind and rain. The combination of all that will improve, though, by midday as we head into Thursday afternoon and into Friday. The weather looking fantastic as we head into the weekend. We are now starting to see the daylight pick up the image here of Tropical Storm Nicole, a strong tropical storm. You're seeing that it has that nice center of circulation, but it's about to approach the northern Bahamas, which is where the National Hurricane Center thinks by that point, by the time it reaches the northern Bahamas, it will potentially gain hurricane strength. That means winds over 74 miles per hour. So this is the latest update as of 7 a.m. It has sustained winds of 70. Now it needs to have 75 mile per hour winds to become a hurricane, or 74 plus. You can see throughout the next few hours, it could gain hurricane strength as it approaches somewhere along the east coast of central or south Florida by later tonight and into early tomorrow morning. So let's give you a better zoomed in cone. So if you're just waking up, this cone does look a little different than what it did yesterday night, as Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells was showing you that. I'm fighting a little bit with Troy on the clicker. So here's the zoomed in image of it. It looks like it will weaken pretty quickly as a tropical storm by about 1 a.m. on Thursday morning once it makes landfall. The forecast cone has shrunk a little bit. It's not as wide as it was yesterday morning, and that's just because computer models are getting a better handle on it, becoming more in agreement that it will be a landfall somewhere across either extreme southern Brevard County to as far south as Broward County. But of course, that forecast cone, you have to also keep in mind that that cone basically means the center of Nicole could be anywhere between the two white lines, with the average being that middle line. So don't just look at the middle line and just say, hey, the rest of Central Florida is out of the cone, you know, we can get back to our normal schedules. Not the case, as this system is a very large and in charge storm, as we are seeing the wind field upwards about 450 miles from the center. Wide, it could be upwards about 600-700 miles wide when you look at the tropical storm force wind gusts. You can see the computer models are nice and tight as they approach the coast, looking like it will be a landfall across possibly West Palm Beach County, possibly something we'll of course keep a very close eye on in the next few hours. Again, hurricane hunters are in there right now, zipping through, trying to find that center of circulation, trying to find the strongest winds, the lowest pressure. It's clocking the lowest pressure so far as 980 millibars, which would mean that this system is getting its act together. It's stacking up nicely to potentially develop into a hurricane. With that being said, we do have hurricane warnings still in effect. This is going to be for coastal Volusia, all of Brevard County, and then tropical storm warnings in effect for areas further inland. That basically means that either tropical storm or hurricane force conditions will be expected within the next 36 hours, but it's going to be before the 36-hour mark. So again, making sure you have all your preparations done within the next couple of hours. Don't push it till later on tonight. So this is your storm timeline. Starting it here by noon, it's going to be a low chance. We're going to see some gusty winds. We'll see some of the torrential downpours along some of those squall bands, rain bands, kind of those squalls. Between 4 and 7, our risk will start to increase a little bit more. You do notice that we are now adding a tornado icon after about 8 o'clock through about 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. And that's because we are going to be on the right side, the dirty side of what could be Hurricane Nicole. That means an enhanced threat for the possibility of a rotating storm that could produce a tornado warning or even a tornado on the ground. They would not be very long lasting. They wouldn't be very strong, but they could cause some damage, especially across our coastline where we've already seen so much damage after Hurricane Ian. Potential rainfall amounts, I know a lot of people are watching because a lot of people are still cleaning up after the flooding from Hurricane Ian. Over a month ago, we were forecasting between 10 to 15 inches of rainfall, 15 to 20 in some spots with Hurricane Ian. This is not going to be a big rain event like it was for Hurricane Ian. With that being said, we are still going to rack up some significant rainfall. So that's not going to be very good news to wake up to if you live along the St. Johns River or areas that tend to flood with some of these tropical systems. We're talking 4 to 6 inches of rain along the coastline. As far inland as about I-4. West of I-4, rainfall rates do go down a little bit, but still considerable at about 1 to 3 inches. At this point, the St. Johns River flood stage is pretty much in the minor category between DeLand and as south as Lake Harney, still in a moderate flood stage in Astor. So even though this system might dump even more rain further to the south, all of that across Indian River County and further south will continue to feed into the St. Johns River, and then all that water will travel northward. So I would not be surprised if we either see a stop in the decline or a slight rise in those river levels. Maybe it's not much today and tomorrow, but even as we head into the weekend, as some of that runoff rainwater will continue to make its way north. From our concern to the river to now the coast. The coastal impacts are being felt already. We had Ezzy Castro and Mark Lehman along our coast this morning, and the beaches are already getting battered. They've been seeing really rough surf for the past couple days since the weekend. We're expecting rough seas between 15 to 18 feet. Obviously dangerous for any boating out there. 13 to 18 foot breaking waves, and that's really going to be the concern during high tides, as those breaking waves could cause not only more beach erosion after Hurricane Ian, but additional coastal flooding on top of the rainfall that the coast will see. Because of that, we do have a storm surge warning in effect for the Barrier Islands in Brevard County, for inland Volusia, and also coastal Flagler County, as we're expecting storm surge between 3 to 5 feet above the normal level. I want to show you real quick here the high tides. The ones I'm the most concerned will be the ones overnight. So Flagler, that 156 mark in the morning, Daytona Beach about 226 in the morning, and Daytona Beach at 325 in the morning. Those are going to be your high tides, along with a possible landfalling hurricane just to our south. So that's going to continue to push all of the seas and the water and push it against the coast, and on top of that, a high tide. So that's really going to be the problem of some area between about 1 and 3 in the morning for you guys that are along the coast. Right now, again, we are seeing those winds sustain between 10 to 15 for our inland zones, but look at the coast. You guys right now are clocking winds between 21 and 26 miles per hour. Wind gusts at this hour even higher. We were clocking 40 mile per hour wind gusts in Cocoa Beach throughout the morning, which would be tropical storm force gusts. We're nearing that along our coastline, but even in Leesburg, you guys are clocking a wind gust of 24 miles per hour. So this is our intensity wind field graphic. You can see no matter where you are in central Florida or even further to the north, since this storm's tropical storm force wind field extends outwards of over 450 miles, we have tropical storm warnings in effect for Georgia. So that just puts into perspective how large the system is and what we can expect in the next couple of hours. Already seeing impacts along our coast, but you can see the strongest of the winds there in that little dark orange circle there, showing winds just clipping partially the far southern tip there of Brevard County with stronger tropical storm force winds. So again, is it going to be a huge wind event? Is it going to be a huge rain event? Well, neither of the two, but it's still going to cause a lot of issues after we dealt with Hurricane Ian, a Category 4 storm, causing damage it did. This is not going to help the cleanup process. It might even move us back a little bit. Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, these are your main impacts. 3 to 5 foot storm surge we've been talking about. 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, just kind of to reiterate it county by county. Seminole and Orange, we're also expecting a good chance of rain in the forecast as well. Again, with most of our inland zones dealing with the possibility of more flooding, but more nuisance flooding, not to the extent that we've been seeing. But of course, all of Central Florida could be dealing with tropical storm force winds throughout the next few hours. Now, the worst of it is going to be across throughout the overnight hours. So we're talking about midnight to about 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, which is why we really want to stress that although this might not be, it won't be the storm like Hurricane Ian was, it does happen overnight. And the possibility of quick moving tornadoes, severe weather, all of that will be in play, but unfortunately it will be in play throughout the overnight hours. So that's why making sure you have either your NOAA radio, making sure you have your Pinpoint weather app, your notifications on loud in case you maybe mute them at night, maybe unmute them just tonight, just making sure that you are able to stay informed and stay up to date with what needs to be, the information that needs to be delivered to you. Troy right now is on TV, so I think I now have control back of my clicker. All right, so let's take it to the next graphic here. He's been jumping me around a little bit. So this was Flagler, Volusia. Again, rain, winds about 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gust. For you guys in Orange and Seminole County, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. But of course, that tornado risk, although it will be low, it's still something we need to, of course, keep a very close eye on, again, as we are going to be on the dirty side. Osceola County, 3 to 4 inches of rainfall, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds also could be a possibility. Now, this won't be sustained. This won't be all day, but we can't rule out the possibility of seeing those quick winds kind of whipping up pretty quickly. He keeps stealing my clicker. Okay, then Lake and Sumter County, 1 to 2 inches of rain, some nuisance flooding could be possible. And then as we head into Marion County, your risk of rain also kind of in that low category, between 1 to 2 inches. So the moral of the story, this is a storm that you of course wanted to kind of pick up anything kind of loose around your house, kind of strap down any debris that you might still have after Hurricane Ian, as those can get tossed around pretty easily. Walk up and down your street if you can, clear out some of the storm drains just to kind of help the water move a little faster with whatever that falls throughout the overnight. And of course, making sure you have that Pinpoint weather app handy, making sure you have your NOAA radio, whatever you use to be alerted would probably be your best bet as we head into late tonight, early tomorrow morning for what could be Hurricane Nicole. We'll be jumping back on here on Facebook, YouTube, clickorlando.com. Pinpoint weather app, our News 6 app, everywhere you need us, we will be there updating you. Our next advisory, complete advisory with a new forecast cone, will be coming out at 10 o'clock. Would not be surprised if they increase the winds, possibly dealing with a hurricane on our hands later on tonight. If you have any questions, please comment below on Facebook, and we, of course, will be here around the clock to update you on everything you need to know.